What's going on, guys? In the Works Media, and welcome to another Battlefield 3 Showdown. And today we're doing the L96 versus the M40, which is one of the more requested showdowns we do because these are two very similar sniper rifles. So last week we did the G36 versus the A91, and it seemed like the G36 was the clear-cut winner in the comments as the best weapon out of the two. So this week I decided I'm going to start a Facebook poll for today's episode, and after you get done watching this, I want you to go over there, the link will be in the description, and click on vote for which weapon you think is better, the L96 or the M40, based on your opinions, your experiences in the game, and what you've seen here, because I'm curious to see which one you guys prefer, because they're very, very similar. They both handle pretty much the same. There's a few differences that we'll talk about here in just a second, but I think they're both very similar, and I'm interested to see which weapon you guys use, which weapon you think is actually better. Now, I found that the M40 handles a little bit better if you're an aggressive player, for several reasons. First off, the M40 works better with an ACOG, which is really important on some close quarter maps like Metro, because I do like using the ACOG on the inside of Metro. I think it's one of the best ways to play aggressive recon. Versus the L96, it kind of has a lot of sway with the scope. And what I mean by sway is if you're playing aggressive recon, you're always going to be using the straight pull bolt, the quick pull bolt, whatever you want to call it, instead of the bipod. That is because you want to be aggressive, and it makes it a lot easier to play aggressive when you're using this setup. However, with this, the L96 tends to have a lot of sway on the scope. So if you notice, I'm zooming out, where normally, you would stay zoomed in with this because you are using the quick pull bolt. And one of the biggest advantages of using the quick pull bolt is being able to stay zoomed in between shots. However, with the L96, you get what I call fake recoil. I guess it's not really fake, but as you pull your bolt back, your scope will actually go down and to the left, making it really hard to get back on target. It kind of feels like your scope's floating in air, and that's because as you pull your bolt back, it actually moves your gun to the left and down a little bit, and that makes it, it increases the little recoil patterns that are on the gun. So I found that the only way around that with the L96 is to zoom out a little bit, and the M40 doesn't really seem to have this artificial recoil I'm talking about. I think you'll just have to experience for yourself. You'll know what I mean when you test it out. A lot of people have pointed out to me, it seems like the L96 has a lot more sway on the scope than the M40, and that's true. However, the one advantage that the L96 does have over the M40 is the increased bullet velocity, which means it's going to have more range, and the bullet drop isn't going to be as substantial. The M40 only shoots 490 meters per second, which isn't really that fast for a sniper rifle. In fact, I think it's one of the lower sniper rifles out of the bolt actions, if not the lowest. So you're looking at a pretty limited sniper rifle in terms of range. Obviously you're never going to be consistently shooting people at 2,500 plus meters. But the M40 I think maxes out at 2,400 meters, which is the lowest on the bolt actions. Where I think the L96 can reach out to almost 2,700 meters. So that's almost 300 meters more than the M40. Now I will point out that a lot of these shots that long aren't going to be something you hit routinely. In fact, I don't even know if anyone's ever hit a shot that long. 2,000 meters is just absurd to think about. But the M40, it kind of has a lot of bullet drop, so it makes it really hard to do some long-range sniping. You'll notice that a lot of people, when they use the M40 long range, you'll notice giant parabolas when they shoot. They'll aim really high and the bullet will just go really high up, then it'll drop really, really sharply. And it makes it hard to be an aggressive sniper with the M40 at long range. So I found that the M40 works really good medium range, but if you're going to be an aggressive sniper who kind of, holds back a little bit, you kind of sit at the back of the map and try to pick people off, you definitely want to go with the L96 because it does shoot 50 meters per second faster than the M40. So you notice I hit that long range shot there, and I was on the first out of the main scope hairs or whatever you want to call it, so the first little tick there. With the M40 you probably would have had to be 1.5 to 2 to hit that guy, and if you don't know what I'm talking about the crosshairs on the scope. So and you see right here, even at that range, you're noticing a little bit of bullet drop. I'm having to put the ACOG scope right above their head, and with the L96, you could probably just put the scope right on them at that range, especially the M98. So Both are very, very usable, though. I don't really see a lot of disadvantages between the two. I've just found that the M40 handles a little bit better if you're an aggressive recon player, or if you're more of a long-range sniper, you know, you like to pick people off from longer ranges, you might want to go with the L96 just because of the increased bullet velocity and just because it just handles overall better at longer ranges. That being said, if you can get past the kind of sway you get with the quick pull bolt, you might be able to just stick with the L96. It's really up to you. I mean, it really comes down to personal preference and which one you guys prefer. But I'm going to remind you guys to go ahead and vote on the Facebook poll which weapon you think is the best. It'll be in the description when this video finishes. Do you like the L96 better than the M40? Let me know. I'm really curious to see. We'll talk about the results at the beginning of the next showdown, and let me know what you might like to see for the next showdown, because I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say about that as well, because I'm always looking for suggestions on which two weapons to do. And you're going to see here this last little clip here, a nice little drag scope. So last week we did the F2000 and the FAMAS and the G36 versus the A91. Both were really good videos. If you missed them, go over there and check them out. They both have a lot of information on each weapon. Seemed like the G36 was a clear-cut winner on that one, and it was really kind of a split decision on the F2000 versus FAMAS. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and be sure to go and vote on the Facebook poll for today's episode, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.